Madan Mohan Prabhu, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribol Archana ji. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll just start in a minute. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनच्छलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी शुभानुस्ते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतलेश्वराय नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतलेश्वर भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं। हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna. Would like to welcome all the devotees for this Bhagavad Katha. We are continuing our discussions of the 7th Canto, 10th chapter. The 10th chapter is the conclusion of the pastimes of Lord Narasimha with Sri Prahlad Maharaj. We, in the last class, came almost to the conclusion of the chapter, but there is a small part of the chapter left, which we could not conclude the last time, which we shall aim to conclude today. And that is a different but unrelated pastime. Pastime of Lord Shiva, who is glorified over the three worlds as Tripurari. Now it's quite interesting. We may wonder that we are discussing the pastime between Prahlad and Narasimha, and then suddenly, where from does this particular pastime come into this chapter? So that's exactly where we are headed. We already discussed in our previous session how after the very, very beautiful exchange between Prahlad and Lord Narasimha, an exchange of pure love between the Lord and his very, very dear affectionate devotee. In that assembly where all the greatest of the Devatas were present, Brahmaji was there, Lord Shiva was there, Lakshmi Devi and all the other Devatas. So many great saints and sages were there. The most outstanding personality was this 5-year-old boy Prahlad, because that was the kind of pure love that he had. He was the only one who was fearless in front of Lord Narasimha, because he saw within Lord Narasimha his Supreme Father. A child always feels very protected in the presence of his father and not fearful. At least as long as the child is not naughty. So Prahlad very humbly approached Lord Narasimha, and Lord Narasimha Dev showered Prahlad Maharaj with very, very affectionate blessings. We have discussed all this, I'm not going to go into detail. After beautiful prayers by Prahlad, the Lord was so pleased, and the Lord asked Prahlad to ask for benediction. Prahlad was very reluctant. And he's telling the Lord, "Oh Lord, why are you enticing me to ask for something? I don't want to do business with you, my dear Lord. What is the point if I worship you with desire for some material gain? It would spoil the sweet nature of our relationship. I don't want to reduce our sweet, loving, eternal relationship of master and servant to a business transaction. To a transaction where I've done something, where I'm expecting something in return. No, that is the nature of the material world, a very transactional relationship. But here I am talking about our eternal relationship, the Sanatan Dharma of the soul. And my Sanatan Dharma is to be eternally a soul. So let me remain that. I'm just happy. I'm happy living in the realization of that eternal relationship and the bliss that it entails. That is the perfection of existence. What more does one need? Lord Narasimha was very pleased with Prahlad's intense detachment. And this kind of detachment is especially difficult if one happens to be born in a family of demons and surrounded practically all throughout their lives with demoniac people. For many of us, even though we are regularly in the association of devotees, or we get the opportunity to be regularly in the association of devotees, we still struggle so much to maintain our Krishna consciousness. And Prahlad's situation was practically so different. Prahlad had got the association of a pure devotee of Narad Muni when he was in the womb. Practically after that, no other devotee association. But he remained so steadfast in his devotional service. He remained so steadfast in his disinterest in all kinds of material benedictions. Not just now, but across life. He could actually see how this whole world is a manifestation of the Lord's energy. Ito narasingo, parto narasingo, yato yato yami tato narasingo, bahi narasingo, hridaye narasingo, narasingam adim sharanam. That's the vision the devotee is working towards realizing. That yes, the Lord is the supreme and I am his servant, but actually this entire manifestation is an extension of my Lord. All this energetic manifestation, whether as Prakriti, Jada or Para, and the Jivas, which are the Tatastha energy, are all energetic manifestations of the Lord. And the energies are dependent on the Lord and part of the Lord. So everything is part and parcel of the Lord. Oh Lord, what is there which is not connected to you, not part of you? And that is why yato yato yami tato narasimha. So when we pray when we recite this beautiful prayer, we have to understand it like that. Not that everything is God, but there is nothing outside God. The entire material existence exists inside him. Even though he maintains his own independent identity, there is nothing outside of him. He is in everything and everything is in him. That is the vision which even Krishna has described in the Bhagavad Gita as the perfect vision of the fully God realized soul. He cannot but see Krishna everywhere. So summarily, Prahlad Maharaj's prayers hint at this realization. The Lord is so pleased. The Lord is also pleased that he doesn't want to ask for any material benediction, but the Lord is so insistent. Please ask for something. And one of the things Prahlad Maharaj asks is, oh, my father, he was a bit naughty. He came in front of you as an enemy, even though he should have actually surrendered to you. So I request, if it is possible, please forgive him. And Narsingh is saying, Are Baba, why you are asking? Even before you have asked, let me inform you, he is anyway delivered. Simply by my touch, he was already delivered. There was no need for you to pray separately. But since you are praying, let me also inform you that 3 Saptabhi, 3 into 7 times, your generations have been delivered because of the appearance of a soul as great as you, Bhagavata. So that was very, very wonderful insight. And we discussed on this a bit in our last class as well, and how we can all, even if we are Kanishta, what to speak of Prahlad Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati says, if one is a Kanishta Adhikari, one can deliver 3 generations. If one is a Madhyama Adhikari, one can deliver 7 generations. And if one is an Uttam Adhikari, then 21 generations. So we may not be so great. Most of us, maybe in Kanishta, or maybe some, maybe in Madhyam platform. If you were in Uttam platform, you wouldn't be attending my class. Except for the purpose of correcting me and improving me. So, the point is that any one who becomes a devotee, even a small devotee, faithful but small devotee, he has the power to purify those who are connected with him. At least 3 generations. Begins with 3. Imagine what kind of a benediction it is. And that's why sometimes when, as devotees, when we are born in families who are not devotees, sometimes we become frustrated, we become morose, we feel hopeless and helpless. We try so hard to make our family members and other close connections devotees, but we fail and we become frustrated. But these kind of pastimes, these kind of insights bless us with the understanding that simply by being connected to devotees, these relatives will get a benefit anyways, a very, very wonderful blessing, which of course sometimes may be manifest in this life, sometimes may not even be manifest in this life, it may manifest in a future life. So one of the best things we can do for anyone, especially our near and dear ones, is to do our best to become a good devotee. Even if we cannot preach to them, we cannot convert them, know for sure we are benefiting at least 3 generations. 3 means our own, 1 down and 1 up. Parents, children, and our own generation. At least 3 generations are being immensely benefited and will be purified and blessed the opportunity for devotional service, that they also get a chance to very soon get delivered from the ocean of material existence. It's an amazing blessing. And perhaps many of us who are now here in this class, who have somehow received this blessing of Krishna consciousness, maybe some of us received it because in some previous lifetime we were connected to a great devotee, either in this lifetime or a previous lifetime. So the blessings of being connected with a great Vaishnava are great. The blessings of being connected with any Vaishnava are wonderful. In fact, The Lord and the Acharyas go to the point of saying, what to speak of directly being related to a Vaishnava. Even if a Vaishnava is favorably disposed and affectionate towards someone, that someone attracts the attention of the Supreme Lord and gets some special blessing. Even without that Vaishnava saying, I bless you. So that is one very, very special blessing that those who are dear to the Lord carry. And if we are fortunate enough to be connected, of course, to one, to be a devotee ourselves, and also to be connected and dear to devotees, then that's a blessing par excellence. That's a blessing which actually we cannot quite fathom the value of. That is a jackpot. And I'm sure many who are in this class today have hit that jackpot. So let us be grateful for that very special blessing which somehow came our way, whether it is because of our devotional service or whether it was because of the blessings of certain devotees, this life or a previous life, whatever the case be. Let us be very grateful. So all sorted out, Hiranyakashipu delivered, Prahlad Maharaj worshipped Lord Narasimha, Brahmaji worshipped Lord Narasimha. Prahlad was additionally given a very special blessing by Lord Narasimha, and that blessing was that even though you are not asking, I want you to assume the throne that Hiranyakashipu had emptied or was forcefully emptied. You become the king and you rule until the end of this Manvantara, become the king. And as long as you are alive in this world, all good fortune will be yours. Rule in a just way, and in that way exhaust the pious credits that you have accumulated all this while. And whatever tribulations may come because of because of prarabdha karma that came along with this body of yours, just endure them with the right devotional consciousness. And at the end of this Manvantara, definitely you will attain my supreme realm. So the Lord didn't immediately tell Prahlad, okay, come, the Viman is here, sit on it, let's go. I want you to do some service. Carry on. Vaikuntha is waiting for you, but a little bit longer. The same thing for Dhruva, the same thing for Prahlad, the same thing for so many. So while great devotees eventually attain the supreme abode, the Lord also wants great pure devotees sometimes to remain on this earth to fulfill some desires of his or to provide spiritual leadership to the society at large. Even though they themselves, the great devotees themselves, may be least interested or attached to material enjoyment and opulence. Perhaps some of us may have been very excited if Narasimha said, oh, rule the kingdom until the end of Manvantara. Yes, got it. Even though I didn't want to ask. So good the Lord give. Now nobody will blame me that I asked for something material. So great devotees who are beyond the temptations of materialistic attraction, for them, they see all this as purely opportunities for service and they execute them just to please the Lord. There is nothing exciting for them to rule a kingdom, to deal with politics. All of this at a psychophysical nature is actually uh, generally painful. What to speak of those who are actually very, very painful. Anyway, so this whole pastime winds up. Brahmaji also performs arti for Lord Narasimha, and then Lord Narasimha disappears, and Prahlad is made the king, and eventually all the devatas also go to their own abodes. And in that way, this beautiful pastimes comes to a conclusion. Narad Muni then wonderfully glorifies Prahlad and reminds Yudhishthir Maharaj. This is the story that I was telling you about, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. These are the same ones who had become Ravan and Kumbhakarna. The same became this Shishupal and Dantavakra. Shishupal was just been killed, and you have been asking me questions about him. And then Narad Muni starts glorifying the great good fortune of Yudhishthir and the other Pandavas. Says, you are so fortunate. This same Supreme Lord who performed all these pastimes, who is Narsimha, who is Ramachandra, who is now Krishna Chandra, he is staying in your palace. He is related to you like a cousin and he's so friendly. Great, great souls and saints are always trying to seek his favor and get a glimpse of him. He who's the source of the impersonal Brahman, that those who are after nirvana and spiritual impersonal realization are meditating on as the impersonal Brahma Jyoti to get the ananda of Kaivalya, of oneness. That supreme person is in your home. What kind of good fortune? And is intimately related to you. He's so close and friendly. Who can even fathom your good fortune? Your relationship with him is like the closeness of the relationship of the body and the soul. Even though he's the Lord, worshipable by everyone, yet he is so humbly acting like a servant to all of you, guiding you, counseling you, comforting you, and sometimes even instructing you. So that person who even Brahma and Shiva could not properly fully describe, that Lord who is so great, may that Lord be pleased with all of us. Even Lord Shiva, he also cannot fully fathom what to speak of Brahma. Lord Shiva is in a greater position. Oh, my dear Yudhishthir, long ago in history, there was a demon by the name of Maya Danav, who was very expert in technical knowledge. And he did some things which reduced the reputation of Lord Shiva. And then that time, Lord Krishna had to intervene to restore the glory of Lord Shiva again. So please understand, this Krishna is not. The strength of Lord Shiva also comes from Krishna. Higher than Brahma is Shiva's position. Brahma may not know so much about the Supreme Lord. Shiva knows almost perfectly, but even that Shiva, his strength comes from Lord Hari. And even when his reputation is affected, he also receives protection from the Supreme Personality of God. And when this particular point was mentioned, suddenly Yudhishthira Maharaj became very curious. Oh, Narad Muni, what is this that you mentioned? You spoke just now about this Maya Danav. So this Maya Danav vanquished Lord Shiva's reputation. What is the story? What happened? Please tell me. And how Lord Krishna got involved in this episode and restored Lord Shiva's reputation. Please, please. You have given me trailer. I want to see full movie. So this is a common theme in the Bhagavatam, where the speaker hints at something and the audience, whether it's Shukadev or in this case Maharaj Yudhishthir, Parikshit Maharaj, or in this case Yudhishthir Maharaj, they become so curious. Please tell me. Because they want to hear more and more Harikatha. So then Narad Muni obliges and he narrates that particular pastime, which is the pastime of Lord Shiva's becoming glorified as Tripurari. So he mentions this pastime in brief. I believe this pastime has been described in greater detail in other Puranas. So the last 10 15 verses of this chapter is dedicated to this particular pastime. So we hear this beautiful pastime, which glorifies both Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva. So Maya Danav. Now Maya Danav, we have heard this name quite a few times. Even in the Mahabharata, Maya Danav was the one who eventually helped build the palace in Indraprastha for the Pandavas. So this Maya Danav is a very famous Danav. Danav is one of the descendants of Danu, one of the wives of Kashyap Muni. There are the Daityas, the Adityas, and the Danavas. The children of Diti, Aditi, and Danu. So Maya Danav, who's one of the children of Danu and one very, very prominent one, he is especially famous as a very, very mystically powerful demon. He resides in the lower planetary systems and he is considered an expert in mystic arts and an expert in technology. Expert in technology. So it is said he was so good, so good. He was very, very good in the art of stealth technology. You understand stealth technology? For example, sometimes countries make aircrafts, known as stealth aircrafts, which cannot even be detected on the radar. But his stealth technology was so advanced that what to speak of not being detected on radar, those objects are not even visible to the naked eye. That kind of technology here. So at one time, as it happens regularly, the Devatas had defeated the Asuras. The Devatas generally, even though Asuras are powerful, the Devatas who have the special blessings of the Supreme Lord, most of the time, not always, most of the times, especially when Sattva is prominent, the Devatas become victorious over the demons. And all these Asuras who were defeated, they became very morose. And they approached this Maya Danav, who was amongst the most powerful of the demons. They requested, please, you are so powerful, you are so expert. Please help us. What is the use of all your technological knowledge if you cannot give us advanced weapon systems to fight with the Devatas? So Mayadana said, okay, let me help you. So what this Mayadana did, he was expert in engineering and technology. He created 3 huge residences, which were like huge airships. Correct? In modern science fiction, they would be considered like starships, like intergalactic vehicles, which are like huge cities, and that's exactly how the description is. They are like huge cities flying in the sky, resembling like airplanes, made of gold, made of silver, and made of iron. And they had very, very uncommon paraphernalia, very, very advanced technologically. And the greatest and the most notable thing about these 3 practically invisible city ships, they're not just small airplanes, they were massive airships which would fly across space. The interesting thing was all 3 of them were made fully invisible to the Devatas. So and invisible not to just our eyes, invisible to the Devatas' eyes. Devatas usually can see much better than us and they have subtler senses. But even, so you can imagine the kind of subtle technology that they had. So through these 3 airships, the Devatas were attacked. They're all inhabited by demons in huge numbers. And they started attacking the devatas and creating havoc amongst the devatas. And one after another, they were capturing various lokas, various abodes all across the three worlds. Three worlds is Bhu, Vaha, Swaha. Of course, most of the lower planetary systems are already in the control of the demons. They are, of course, more interested in the higher planets, but they want control over the middle planets, especially Earth, because there is the lever of dharma, which helps control piety in the universe. That is the control Earth, you control the universe. At least Bhubhuvasva, not the higher. Higher planets are beyond the control of the asuras. Only the great sages, purified beings are there. The demons, it's not within their power to create havoc there. So they captured the lower, the mid, the Earth, the middle planetary system. They started attacking the higher planets. As the higher planets were being attacked, all the devatas were so worried because they are not able to counteract this stealth warfare that Maya Danav had enabled. And they ran to Lord Shiva and they surrendered to Lord Shiva. They said, Lord Shiva, please help us, help us. We are about to be vanquished. We are all your servants. Please save us. So Lord Shiva, it is said, Ashutosh being very kind, said, okay, no worries. Don't be afraid. I will do something. So he took his bow. And then it is said he fixed arrows on his bow. Lord Shiva's bow, I think it's not known as a Pinaka or something like that. Just like Lord Vishnu's bow is known as Sarang. Shiva's bow is known as Pinaka. So he took his bow, he set arrows and he shot arrows. Lord Shiva's arrows, not ordinary arrows. And it is said that immense, fiery beams emanated from these arrows. And they covered these residential flying planes. And it created so much heat that it literally burned and caused the death of all the inhabitants who were in those three spaceships. And they said they practically all fell down from their spaceship. Mayadanav, even though at that point in time he couldn't directly counteract Lord Shiva's potency, he did something. He had a very great mystic power. So he created a very special well. A well. Where he produced a very special potion, a kind of a nectar, a kind of amrit. And he had all these demons who were killed by Lord Shiva across these three spaceships. He put their dead bodies inside. And when their dead bodies went in, it is said by the power of that particular potion, that nectar, that amrit, the demons immediately, their bodies became well, they became revived, and with strong and even more powerful bodies. The Bhagavatam says, endowed with great strength, they got up like a lightning penetrates clouds. They all jumped up more stronger than ever. And when Lord Shiva, it is said, he saw this, Lord Shiva felt aggrieved and disappointed. That I did and I killed this. Now this Mayadana is reviving all these demons again. So this is going to be very difficult now. I will go on killing and they will go on becoming revived. So when Lord Shiva became disappointed because of this, Lord Vishnu felt that no, this cannot be the case. I must come to the help of Lord Shiva to fix this particular debacle. So Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma made a plan together. Lord Vishnu took the form of a cow. Lord Brahma took the form of a calf. And it is said around noon time, they entered the residences of the demons, the place where Mayadana had made this well, special well of this magical potion. It is said this cow and calf went to this well. This well was well guarded by demons, but they went to the well as a cow and a calf. And just like a cow and calf will go to a water body and start drinking the water, they started drinking the liquid in this well, the nectar. It is said they drank and they drank and they drank and they emptied the entire well of its contents, all the potion that Mayadana had produced. And the interesting thing, the Bhagavatam says is, even though the demons could see the cow and the calf drinking, by the bewildering potency, Maya potency of Lord Vishnu, they could neither stop nor intervene in the whole process. They were seeing, but they were so bewildered by the Maya of Vishnu that none of them were able to do anything to forbid the cow and calf. And they started lamenting, helplessly lamenting. Even Mayadanav could see what is happening and he was lamenting. That just see the power of the Supreme Lord, Maya potency. Huh? That we are actually unable to do anything. Then he says something very interesting. This has happened right in front of his eyes and he cannot do anything. Mayadanav says, the Bhagavad, whatever has been destined by the Supreme Lord, whether it's for me or for you or for all of us together, because it is the will of the Lord, nobody can undo anywhere, at any place, the supreme will of the Lord. It cannot be countered. Neither a devata, nor a demon, nor a human being, nobody can counter. So I can understand that this is the will of the Lord, and we cannot but just remain spectators as the Lord fulfills his desire. And what is the Lord's desire? The Lord's desire is that this well be emptied so that the demons will be vanquished again. So after having emptied the well, Lord Hari again went to Lord Shiva and again gave him all the necessary weapons. He gave him a chariot, he gave him a charioteer, he gave him flags and horses and elephants and bow and shield and arrows. Again, Lord Shiva being very enthused by this support by Lord Vishnu. He sat on his chariot, took his bow back again, and started again his fight with the demons. And this time, he not just burned the residence of these spaceships, but it is said with his arrows, he destroyed and burned to ashes these three spaceships, which were practically like flying cities. Pura. Tripurari, the enemy of the three flying cities. And that is why Lord Shiva became famous as Tripurari, the enemy of the three cities. Tripurari. So by his arrows, all the three cities were burned to ashes. And all the devatas were so happy. The devatas, the siddhas, the pitas, they're all showering flowers on Lord Shiva's head. The apsaras were glorifying. And Lord Vishnu became so happy because Lord Vishnu always wants Lord Shiva, who is his pure devotee, to be glorified. So when Lord Hari sees his devotees glorified, and what to speak of Lord Shiva is not just a devotee, but he's an expansion. He's an empowered incarnation. He's a Gunavatar of Lord Hari. And they share such a very sweet, intimate relationship with each other, where they both love each other so in such a heartfelt, intimate way. So it is said after this beautiful pastime happened, Lord Shiva became famous as Tripurari, and then he was worshipped by Lord Brahma, and then after that, all the devatas, including Lord Shiva, all went to their respective abodes. So, having narrated this beautiful pastime, the chapter is concluded by Narad Muni, and he concludes by saying, "How wonderful are the pastimes of Lord Krishna! So uncommon. Practically comes to this world as if he is a human being, but he performs such amazing, wonderful pastimes by his Atma Maya, by his divine potency. So much can be spoken about the Lord, and so many great devotees have already spoken so much. How much more can I add?" Narad Muni is saying out of his. And these topics, O Yudhishthir Maharaj, that we are discussing about the Lord, they are such sweet and powerful, transcendental, nectarian subject matter that if one simply hears these pastimes from the right source, our activities and our existence can be fully purified. Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Hyabadrani Vidunoti. So this brings us to the conclusion of chapter 10. As I mentioned, the remaining part of the chapter wasn't very long, and the Narsingha Prahlad pastimes come to a conclusion. The next few chapters, there are another few chapters remaining in the 7th canto. The 7th canto is predominantly Prahlad's pastimes. They are more about the Varnashram Dharma. The conversation between Yudhishthir Maharaj and Narad Muni continues, and Narad Muni is asked very wonderful questions about what is actually Dharma and what are the characteristics of Varnashram Dharma. So that discussion is triggered off, and there is a philosophical discussion, which is a very interesting discussion around Varnashram Dharma. So the next few chapters are very focused in detail in the Bhagavatam as instructions around Varnashram Dharma. So it's very interesting. So a lot of things we'll get to learn through these beautiful discussions between Narad Muni and Prahlad Maharaj. Oh, sorry, Narad Muni and Yudhishthir Maharaj. Okay. So thank you for patiently listening. I saw some of you posted some things in the chat. So what I'll request is if anybody has a question, please do raise your hand and ask, and then we can discuss any questions you may have posted in the chat as well. Yeah, Suresh Prabhu, you want to start?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, last class I went through recording because I was not able to attend. So
Yes.
I have one follow-up question. You were telling like Narsingha Lord tells to Prahlad 3 into 7 lifetime, right? That is, if 3 lifetime, 7 generations liberated, right, Prabhu? So that is only for Uttama devotee or people like us also?
Narsingadev doesn't mention so much about people like us. But
Yeah,
Acharyas like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has mentioned that for Kanishta 3 generations, Madhyam 7 generations.
Yeah.
But across the scriptures, what is mentioned is that those who are connected to the devotees receive special blessings of the Lord. So, for many, those who are serious devotees in this life, it will be very surprising if they were not devotees in previous lives. It is very, very unlikely. Because to become a serious devotee, a sadhaka of pure bhakti, is itself attained after many lifetimes of spiritual dabbling, experimentation, and practice. Bhunam jalmanam ante jnanavan nam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti. So again, the very simple understanding we can have is, again, these are all high-level mathematics. It is not,
Yeah.
Cannot, because each of us in our own devotional service is situated at various levels. We say Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttam as broad categories, but even within that, there is so much room. It's a huge spectrum. So the basic principle is the more advanced we become, the more dear we become to the Lord, the more those who are connected to us will be benefited. That's the simple thing. So if we have been devotees in previous lives, then definitely those who are related in the previous lives will be benefited. What is definitely mentioned is, 3 into 7, so previous lives for Uttam Adhikari. Perhaps it is by the same calculation or the same consideration.
Yeah.
So again, I cannot say definite in terms.
Well, just curious, Prabhu, that's it.
No, yeah. So so very likely that many here would have been devotees in past lives, and in that way, their relatives will also be benefited.
Yeah, Prabhu, another two questions. Can I ask, Prabhu? Small questions.
Small, huh? Okay.
Prabhu, this that morning, evening, afternoon, and night, right? The Devata's power also get decreased as and when time goes on. The Sattva, Raja, Tamo, right? Night time it's a Tamo.
Sattva, Rajo, yeah, the gunas. So the Gita also says, right, the gunas are continuously in a flux. So at night, Tamoguna becomes powerful, day Sattva guna is powerful. So those who are nourished, any kind of entities who are nourished by those gunas, they become powerful when those gunas become prominent in the environment. Right?
So that's why these Asuras are powerful at night,
Yes.
even though. Okay, Prabhu. And the last one is quite illogical. In this story about well, right? How did he get access to nectar, Prabhu? This sounds.
So this nectar doesn't seem to be the nectar of the Mohini Amrita. This was some kind of a potion he created to his
Okay.
mystic. See, he was very highly technologically advanced. So he was great in engineering. He was great in biotechnology, chemistry. So he had produced something by which it could practically create immediate rejuvenation of the body.
Yeah, good.
So this is not that nectar, not the nectar which the devatas
Yeah,
got
because
from
only that.
the churning of the milk ocean.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked you. Yeah, it's clear, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Yeah, Gautam Prabhu, you have a question?
Yeah, Haribol.
Haribol.
Prabhuji, there's this concept of Surabha, right? After Narsingha Dev is angry and he cannot be pacified. At the first place, is it authentic or as per Srimad Bhagavatam? Because that bewilders me a little bit.
Yeah, so that is Sarabha. So Sarabha is a bird form where Lord Shiva takes that particular form. So that particular pastime is not mentioned in the Bhagavad. So it doesn't seem to be associated with this particular appearance of Lord Narasimha, because clearly it is mentioned here that he disappeared, right? After he was worshipped. So definitely this particular appearance is not. But again, there are multiple appearances of the Lord. So it is mentioned in other Puranas. I do not remember on top of my head which Purana the Sarabha pastime is mentioned. But that particular form in which Lord Shiva appears to, pacify Lord Narasimha is mentioned in some other Puranas. So we consider it as a Kalpa Bhed, that at some other yuga, some other appearance, that particular pastime happened. So in this particular pastime, nobody could pacify the Lord, not even Shiva. In that particular appearance, it seems that as in the form of Sarabha, Lord Shiva performed some pastime in which he intervened to pacify Lord Narsingha in a very interesting way, in a way which kind of exalts Lord Shiva in that form of Sharabha. So that is there. So all these pastimes we can understand as Kalpa Bheda. So if it is mentioned in the Puranas, we do not say that they are not true. But at the same time, we understand that they are because of variations. So Acharyas also say that, the pastimes of the Lord, whether it is of Narasimha, whether it is of uh, Ramachandra, whether it is of Krishna Chandra or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for that matter, when they appear in different ages, in different kalpas, there may be slight variations in the way uh, the pastimes manifest and express themselves. Even though the broad characteristics and the broad storyline is similar, because the character is the same, but the stories may vary, and that's how we understand also variations in the Ramayana like that. That's how we also understand variations in. So the basic point is Krishna loves variety. So,
Okay,
seems yeah.
Thank
So anyway, for those who are not aware, Sarabha is a form of Lord Shiva uh, in a bird. It's a combination of bird and some other form, animal form, something like that, in which he almost fights with Lord Narasimha, practically, to pacify him, something like that. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Any other points? Anyone or any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Sundar.
Prabhu, the what 7 times 3 you were telling that the one basically if you are Uttama Adhikari, you will be able to deliver 10 above, 10 below, and what including you, is it? Am I right, Prabhu?
Yes. Including the current generation. So current
So
generation would mean the spouse.
okay. So that means it's 10 above, 10 below, and the current
And the current one.
generation. And also that is Uttama if you are a Madhyama Adhikari, that means 3 above, 3 below, and including your
Including the
current.
current one.
Okay, thanks, Prabhu. And the other thing I just wanted to, give a view that at what is that Prahlad Maharaj level. Although what is that Singa Dev was asking him, what is that prefers to remain in this in this material world, or that was what he told, but in our case, like if we kind of seek for liberation and all, because we are really tired of this material world and all those things. Are we in the right track, or because as we were discussing in the previous class, we shouldn't seek for liberations and all those things. So like we already know that the material world is everyone is that step you make is full of danger and all these things. So like if we have got that kind of mode that I've already enough, so if I get a chance, I will want to go back. Is it the right mode, or is it that mode that
You see, Prabhu, I'll make one. I understand your question. See, this whole statement, what is right, that has to be seen in the context of what we are. From the perspective of a pure devotee, if you ask what is right, a pure devotee is not seeking liberation from suffering. Okay. So from the highest perspective, is it right? No, that is a desire for liberation. But then if we are not on the platform for pure devotee, then obviously there is some mixture of karma and jnana. There is bhakti, but there is also some karma and jnana, which means there is some desire for some gain for ourselves also, which even the devatas have. There is also a tendency or a desire. I don't want to suffer. I want to be free from the cycle of birth and death. Yeah? So that aspect is also there. So we cannot artificially just jump to that platform. We know that is the platform of pure devotion. We should know, we should worship, we should aspire, and we should work towards it. And ideally, if we are really serious about pure devotion and we understand the importance of pure devotion, ideally, we should not pray for that. We should not pray for liberation. But again, we are all at different levels of purity. So even when we ask for pure devotion, for us at our level, when a Kanishta asks for pure devotion, he's not really excited about pure devotion. He's making a very intellectual ask for pure devotion. Because Kanishta doesn't really have much understanding and appreciation of what pure devotion is. Because unless one's heart is really charmed by Krishna, one will not develop enough appreciation of devotion to come to that realization that let me just have service to Krishna, I don't care anything else. I am okay whether I am in hell, I am here, I am anywhere. For us, this is just a verse by hearted from scriptures. Do we really have appreciation? Do we have a realization of this? Yeah, at best have an intellectual understanding. So only when one achieves higher stages of devotional service are these asks even genuinely appreciable and realizable. So the way Prabhupada taught us, again coming back to what we can ask, best is that a devotee should ask who's serious about pure devotion. So this is, oh Lord, if it is your wish, then may this be my last life. But if you want me to remain in this world and render service, and like what I said, the Lord did this to Prahlad, the Lord did this to Dhruva, the Lord did this to many others. Even after giving them direct personal darshan, for thousands and thousands of years they were there. I mean, not many lifetimes, because that lifetime was so long that the Lord asked them to continue service. So Prabhupada says that if the Lord wants a pure devotee to continue to remain in this world and render service, the devotee is happy to serve the Lord rather than consider his own personal liberation. So again, that is the textbook answer. That is the textbook answer. So we all have to work towards it. Sometimes it is good, even if we don't feel the answer, sometimes good to pray like that just so that eventually we will develop the mood of that answer. That's how great souls say. Radha Maharaj says that sometimes we should just repeat the prayers of the great souls even though we don't feel that. One day by repeating them again and again, it will sink in a bit and somehow that mood will develop. So in that way, it's a good practice. But just because we are speaking, are we really internalizing that? That will take time. So again, like what I mentioned earlier, let's not beat ourselves on the head if we want to be liberated. Of course, liberation here shouldn't mean we want to merge into impersonal Brahmana. If that is the idea, then that's a very offensive thought. But liberation, in terms of liberation from the cycle of birth and death, generally for all spiritualists, except for the real pure devotee, it is a significant attainment which is very high on their list of this is something I want. So while we may be in our early stages of Krishna consciousness, motivated more by a desire for liberation from suffering than a desire to lovingly serve the Lord, and that is the reality. We may be attracted to the Lord, but actually, if we really examine the content of our heart, karma and jnana is often much more than bhakti. Bhakti is there, but we sometimes think ourselves much more than what we are. But if you really open the heart and do detailed lab analysis, find percentage content, percentage by volume, bhakti percentage, jnana percentage. Jnana means desire for freedom from suffering. And karma percentage. Karma percentage means desire for fruitive results, which means all kind of material desires. Good job, good wife, successful careers, wealth, comfort, name, all these. Correct? All of our hearts have this to small or greater extent. I cannot say I am free from either karma or jnana. I mean, I have to be honest. But what we can say is, as time is progressing, our percentage of bhakti is increasing and karma and jnana is reducing, because as we develop more and more appreciation for devotional service and how it is the real remedy to all other problems and challenges, bhakti is the only solution. As our realization of this increases, we give more and more volume to bhakti in our heart, and other things becomes smaller and smaller until it fully disappears at the stage of pure devotion. So that's the journey. Meanwhile, when we are not yet there, when we intellectually know we have to be there, we can try develop the heart of a pure devotee and try to pray like a pure devotee with the hope that that realization will come. But even if you detect karma and jnana, while we can try to control it, let's not get very frustrated. As long as we do not allow karma and jnana to cover our bhakti, it is not such a big problem. We always, jnana karmadi anavritam. Anavritam is uncovered. So that's a very big topic. I'll not go into that. That verse itself, we can have a full class on it. Okay, Prabhu, did I answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu. It was a very detailed and well explained, because at the end of the day, you got bhakti, jnana, and karma. So the conclusion is that bhakti should be overtaking jnana and karma, and what eventually should be just 100% bhakti. I mean,
Yeah,
that is
when
the
we
thing.
are new devotees, we are very excited. We just came to Krishna consciousness. We think we are 99% devotee and only 1% of something is mixed. That is how new devotees think. Whereas the reality is exactly opposite. Only 1% devotion and 99% mixture. But as the devotee starts becoming purified, the first thing he starts realizing is, actually, I'm not as wonderful as I thought I am. And then he starts becoming humble. And then he realizes, after he makes even more advancement, actually, I'm such a rotten person. Just become not so wonderful. I am fallen. I have such desires. I didn't even know I have all these kind of things. I have no devotion for Krishna. And that is the starting point of serious devotional service. So anyway, that's a long conversation. It's a detailed thing. But that's where one actually seriously helplessly takes shelter of the holy name, the Vaishnavas, the deities, helplessly knowing that I am messed up man. I'm totally messed up. I was thinking I have it sorted. I am great. I am wonderful. I'm a preacher. I'm a president. I'm a sannyasi. Whatever. I'm all messed up. I have no hope. That's why you will see all those who are very advanced. They think like that. And that is why across the Bhagavad, just one point I will add, I have not seen any prayer where somebody has said, take me back to Godhead. I don't see anywhere. They're all saying, oh Lord, let me never forget you. Oh Lord, let me always have the association of pure devotees. Let me always have friendship of great devotees. Let me be always compassionate to all living entities. Let me be detached from all the things of this world. So these are the kind of prayers that even the perfected souls in Bhagavad are asking for. I have not seen. If you find anywhere, let me know. I haven't found a prayer where the devotee has told, oh Lord, please guarantee me my last life. I want to go back. Please give me boarding pass with your autograph on it so I can show. So there is no problem when I enter Vaikuntha in royal style. It doesn't happen like that. So the safest and surest way and the fastest way to get entry is to develop that humble spirit of surrender and wholeheartedly take shelter of the Lord, feeling Sharanagat. That is what Sharanagati is about. As long as we think ourselves great or capable, that mood will not arise and we will not be able to attain that destination. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, for the nice question. Sorry, anybody had anything else? Okay, so I'm just going through the chat. For liberation, why God took only 100% perfect people? Why rest need to suffer for liberation? Actually, the answer is in the question itself. Because if you say you are not 100%, that means you want something in the material world. The qualification to go to the spiritual world is if you only want God. Until the point you want nothing else but the Lord, you will remain in the material world. Correct? So the answer is in the definition itself. 100% is then crossover. If you have anything that you still need to aspire and sort out, better sort it out here because it will never get fulfilled in the spiritual realm. It is not that the Lord is sitting with a cane there saying, I found 1%. You get lost. Kick you and throw you down. No, it's not like that. The Lord is more keen to purify us than we are. The Lord is sitting in our heart and actually we are actually purifying only 5%. The rest of the 95% the Lord is quietly doing. Shh, don't tell anyone, I did it for you. So that is the Lord's special kindness for his devotees. Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara. And he also says, Tesham evanukam partam aham jnanajam tama nashayami atma bhavastu jnanadipena bhasvata. I sitting in their hearts. For those who are always remembering me sincerely, wanting to be pure devotees. I sitting in their heart with the lamp of transcendental wisdom, burn away the darkness born of ignorance. So we are struggling, but behind the scenes, Krishna is pulling the thread and making things work. Our capacity to drive away Maya is very small. Without Krishna's help, nothing will happen. So that's why net bottom line is, even though we are incapacitated, all Krishna is expecting is our sincere, wholehearted effort according to our level. Whatever it is, whatever is our best. That's all. Because actually we cannot do more than that anyways. We do not have to become like Prabhupada to go back to Godhead or like Jayapataka Maharaj or Radhanath Maharaj and do that kind of service. We will never be able to do that. At least not in this lifetime or at least for the foreseeable long time. But Krishna is not even expecting that. Krishna is just expecting our 100%. And Krishna's promise is, you do your best, whatever is the rest, he will fill in. Just like sometimes the father tells to the son, gives him a saving box, piggy bank. Says for every 1 rupee you put into this box, I will put 100. Correct? Because if he relies only on the son putting money in, it will never get filled. You put 1, every time you put 1, I will put 100. So what does that mean? Every effort is 100x by the Lord's grace. Okay, so just continue. Yes, our mind is fickle, lot of problems. But if we are sincere, if we keep association of devotees, the ocean of material existence will be crossed over under the guidance of the expert captain, the spiritual master, with the favorable wind of the Vedas. Okay, thank you very much. Canto Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai Samaved Gaur Bhakta ki. So I'll see you on Tuesday. We'll continue our session.
Thank you, Prabhu. Harisha.
Thank you, Shri Prabhupada ki,
Hare Krishna.
Jai Samaved Gaur Bhakta.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Induleka Mataji. Thank you, Anita Mataji.
Thank you,
Arun,
Prabhu. Harisha.
Hare Krishna
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Chini ji, thank you. Sneha ji, Shalini. Haribol. Sachi Prema Mataji, thank you. Gautam and Madan Mohan, thank you for joining today as well.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Sundari Mataji, Archana ji, thank you.
Hare Krishna and thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, thank you. Suraj, Shalini ji, thank you. Sridevi ji, thank you. By the way, Monday is Ekadashi. I think I posted in the chat in case you missed that. I believe at least in Malaysia, India, I am assuming is the same. If not, please check your local calendars.